It's time that the Florida Gators stop this rotation at right tackle.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I am Brandon Olsen. Welcome to Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We got Hayden Hansen joining us as always later on to talk about that Kentucky game, talk about DJ Lagway getting benched for Tramell Jones. It's a good conversation. Before we get to that, we're going to talk about this depth chart, how we always do. And I am just tired of the rotation at right tackle. I don't think it's effective. Just give Caden Jones all the snaps at right tackle. Call it a day. And it again, like, this isn't me saying that Bryce Lovett is bad. Caden Jones has had his fair share of really bad reps, right? Against Kentucky, he had one bad drive. For the most part, was good. One bad drive. Texas A&M, Miami, took his lunch money. Not surprising, considering especially the Miami game was just his second start ever. So Caden Jones, like, he's had his struggles, but he's shown a lot of promise to be a long-term success at right tackle. Not saying he will be a long-term success, but he's shown a lot of promise in that area. And frankly, I said this during the offseason last year, said it before the season. I don't think that Bryce Lovett is a long-term offensive tackle. I'll let me spin that back for a second. During the offseason, it wasn't me saying that I don't think he can work at right tackle. It was me saying that even if he does work at right tackle, if he goes to the NFL, he's going to be a guard. That's where he fits. And that I do think that when you have guys that you know are going to go to guard, just play him at guard. I think that helps a lot, especially now when we talk about, and this is part of why I felt that way about Bryce Lovett during the offseason. It's not so much anymore about do they have long arms, because that used to be the thing, right? That used to be if you had an offensive tackle that had average or short arms, then people would go, oh, he's going to be a guard long term. That's what they used to do. Over the past, I feel like especially over the past like 3 or 4 years, we've seen that mentality shift. It's not so much about do you have long enough arms to play offensive tackle in the NFL, which is still part of it, but not the most important part. Now it's, do you have the reactive footwork and the foot quickness to stay at offensive tackle? Because these edge rushers are so athletic and so explosive that you've got to be able to get back. And when they work that inside counter that you see all the time, like the like the Prince Leon Allen spin move that we used to talk about, which we haven't seen anybody on this team really break out a spin move consistently. And I do think that part of that comes to coaching, being told, hey, you guys can do these moves and not other ones. We've seen that before. Myles Garrett used to complain about it all the time. But when we talk about offensive line play and what we've seen with Florida's offensive tackle play, you've got to have foot quickness to be able to counteract those inside counter moves. Because that's how these edge rushers get you, right? They've got elite first steps to get around the edge and bend. And so you've got to really react and make sure that you're back enough to stop them. And then they hit an inside counter. And if you don't have quick enough footwork, you're dead in the water. That's why Bryce Lovett isn't an offensive tackle to me. It's not the length, it's the footwork. That's it. I also don't think he has great arm length, great wingspan, but that's not it for me. I overlook that. That's fine. It's the footwork to play outside. I don't think Bryce Lovett has that. He's a guard. Also, he had a personal foul penalty against Kentucky where I don't know what was said to him. I don't know what happened on it, but it was a wild reaction, and it killed the drive. I'm fine with Bryce Lovett taking snaps at guard. Either guard spot, I don't care. He's just not a tackle. It's as simple as that for me. And look, Caden Jones could play all the right tackle snaps. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But like, if you insist on rotating there, put in someone, Devin Manuel, Mark Faircloth, give him right tackle snaps. Enoch Wangboy, see what you got there. Like, honestly, if you feel the need to rotate at right tackle, that's fine. It shouldn't be Bryce Lovett, though. I also don't think you should have the rotation at 3 of your 5 offensive line spots, but that's neither here nor there. That's a disagreement that we just have on the line. But it's time for just saying, hey, Bryce Lovett, tackle, not a good experiment. Also, one more change on the offense, which is all we're talking about today. We don't have a defensive change. Offensive change, which isn't so much me saying that this is something that should happen. It's me saying something that I'd like to see happen. Byron Louis, running back 2, could be the move this week. And for a couple factors. One, Katie Daniels, who was filling in as running back 2 while Duke Clark has been not playing. We haven't seen him in a few weeks. But Katie Daniels, who was filling in there, fumbled last week. And fumbles are no-goes. That's an unacceptable thing. That's the quickest way to get off a field. I think most people will tell you that the quickest way for a running back to get off the field, fumbling, being bad in pass protection. Katie Daniels fumbled this past week. I forgot which game it was exactly. It's whichever game he recovered a fumble. I think it was A&M. He had the blown assignment, gave up the pressure that led to a sack. I don't think he was credited with the sack, but he blew his assignment. DJ had to step up into the pocket, and because he stepped up into the pocket, he got sacked and fumbled. And Katie Daniels recovered it, but yeah, ball security issues and being an unreliable pass protector, quick ways to get taken off the field as a running back. Byron Louis, we haven't seen much of him. It's hard to really have an opinion on what he brings to the table as a back, right? Just because we haven't seen it in college. We saw him get 2 carries for -2 yards, but he had 2 yards after contact. So, he should have lost more yards, I guess we can say. We saw him in pass protection once or maybe twice, which, nothing bad happened. That doesn't necessarily mean that he did a great job, but nothing bad happened, and we'll take that. I just think that you've got that. And also, Byron Louis, the first time he played was this past week against Kentucky. He could play the rest of the season and maintain his red shirt. So you can see what you got from him. If Duke Clark is available fully and ready to go, Duke Clark can play in one more game, and then he'd be done if he wants to maintain his red shirt. So Byron Louis, running back 2. Just saying. Maybe going to be something that happens. It gives you a look at who you got on the roster for whoever the next coach is. But I think that, Byron Louis, running back 2, could be a move that you see, especially with Duke Clark and Katie Daniels fumbling. Just saying. Something that I would watch for potentially happening. Byron Louis, running back 2 this week. We're about to be joined by Hayden Hansen when we get back with Locked On Gators. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. And you can join the free Trade Master program today. Score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Just saying, you can join it for free. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free, FREE, and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Joining me now for Locked On Gators is Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators starting tight end. And Hayden, we have the Kentucky game 38-7. What happened in that game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just saw the fact that we got beat on all three phases, and when you do that, you're never going to win a game in the SEC. That goes for offense, defense, special teams. You got to be better all around. There's a lot to learn on that tape, and we put it to bed on Sunday, and it's been all about Ole Miss for the past 2 days, and that's what we have our sights set on. Another top 5 road game in the SEC, which we're no strangers to. So we're looking to take care of business and get this taste out of our mouth.
And maybe you can give some better insight than I can, because I get to sit on my couch during these games. You guys can take all the hits in the world. I get to sit on the couch. I get to relax, or try to relax during these games. And from my perspective, it looked like for a lot of the team, for the first time, by the way, which I will say is impressive in itself, where I feel like there's been a lot of adversity this team has faced, or this program has faced in recent years. But it felt like, from my perspective, was the first time we saw some guys quit, check out, whatever it is that you want to say. But it felt like that, again, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily think that's the case. I think Billy G made sure of that. He watched all the film, asked all the position coaches, and no one really said that anybody quit. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when you get a result like that, I mean, people are going to say, like, I mean, we're not supposed to lose that kind of game, especially in that fashion. So, I mean, I think it's fair for people to say whatever they want, criticize us how they want. I mean, Gator Nation doesn't deserve that performance, but I mean, I didn't think I saw anybody quit, at least on my side of the ball for sure. We just came out there to fight, but I mean, that was just a game that we couldn't dig ourselves out of the hole.
Yeah, I will also say, yeah, for me, I feel like the side that quit more was the defense, or quit, showed less, whatever you want to say, where it was a very uncharacteristic game where it felt like there just wasn't that same level of effort that we've seen all season. It felt like that was more on the defensive side, which, I mean, they've balled for most of the year, right? And so I guess we can just say, all right, like that's one that's out of the way. But coming off a game like that, 38-7, like I said, like, it's not a fun game to watch. It's not a fun game to talk about. I can only imagine it's not a fun game to play there. But how do you guys kind of move on from that? Because it felt like that was such a game, or that was a game that was so uncharacteristic of this team, which, like, offense has had their fair share of struggles all season, but this was different. It just felt different for a lot of the game. So do you guys, like how much of that game do you really take into this week of practice, or the remainder of the season? Or is it kind of just like, that was so uncharacteristic, we know that's not us, we're going to just move past it?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to use it as motivation. I mean, you can't harp on it. You can't let it bring you down. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't go back in time and fix what you messed up on. So, I mean, we got to work and not let that ever happen again, And I mean, I would say after a rough game like that, in my opinion, you need to put it to bed as early as possible. So, I mean, like, we went up there Sunday, watched the film as a team, broke up into position groups, and then Billy G's message was, "We're putting this to bed now. Come in Monday, it's all about Ole Miss. You got to learn from your mistakes and move on." And we've been doing that all year, and especially with the schedule we have, it's no different for these last 3 games. So.
And speaking of Billy G, what was his message like to the team immediately following the game? Because, this is his second game ever being a head coach. And so he's also getting brand new to this. He's been around plenty of very talented coaches, but he's never had to lead that. So just what was his message to the team afterward?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he was just like, if anybody has any criticism or any questions for you, put the blame all on me. It's like, put it all on me. He's like, I got to get it fixed. We got to figure out what works. We got to figure out ways to get the ball in the end zone on offense and things like that. He just took complete ownership, which I respected. He just kind of got thrown into the spotlight, and I feel like he's doing the best he can with it. I mean, you saw how we played against Georgia. Obviously, that wasn't the same team that played Kentucky. That's the most frustrating parts because we know what we're capable of. We came up just a few plays short against another top 10 team. So, I mean, that's probably just the frustrating thing. That's kind of what he was saying. I mean, it's hard to win when you turn the ball over 4 times in the first half. And that was his biggest point is we just have to take care of the football. And people can say the defense quit or they gave up points. But when you put the defense out there time after time after turnover after turnover, they're only going to have so much energy, you know. We have to help them out as well, and we didn't help them out. So it's just as much on the offense as it is on the defense.
Yeah, it felt like I guess we'll call it anti-complimentary football where turnover and then Kentucky would have these long drives. Like, it wasn't like Kentucky was just going out there scoring in the first play. They had a couple explosives, but it wasn't a consistent thing. So it kind of just felt like, all right, they're gassed after a long drive. Turnover puts them right back onto the field, and then they're dealing with it once again. Yeah, it was just rough. We also saw, you mentioned 4 turnovers in the first half. 3 of those were DJ Lagway interceptions. We saw Lagway get benched for Tramell Jones on Saturday night. As an offensive player, non-quarterback offensive player, how does that change impact you personally, impact the huddle? Because I know that DJ Lagway is a true sophomore and Tramell Jones is a true freshman, but quarterback is still the leadership position. Like, I don't care what team. I feel like just about every team you're talking about, it's like, who's the leader, and you want it to be the quarterback. So just how does that impact going from DJ Lagway to Tramell Jones?
Yeah, I mean, it's just with Tramell being a true freshman rookie, we all have to raise our level of play. We have to get open. We have to hold blocks longer just to make him get comfortable. And I feel like that first drive, he was doing his thing, moving the ball, scrambling when he needed to. And then obviously kind of just the theme of the whole year with this offense is just penalties that kill drives. And we had a personal foul penalty that backed us up, and it kind of just ended up stalling out. But, I mean, I feel like before that penalty, he was looking pretty good. He got a little rhythm going. But when you put a true freshman in there, you can't do anything to hurt ourselves, Then we moved back 15 yards. Then it's like now we have to call some plays you weren't planning on calling, and it's just things like that. But, I mean, you just got to raise your level of play for a guy like that. But, I mean, he's super talented. It makes no difference who's back there. We're all going to do our job, play the same for those guys. They're both great leaders. So,
yeah, and speaking of leaders, you've mentioned a few times the leadership council. Offensively, is that just you and Slaughter, or if you don't mind?
It's a big mix of guys. It's not just offense, defense, special teams. It's I mean, there's quite a few guys on offense like me, Barber, Slaughter, DJ, Ball, Jacoby Jackson, some guys, some of the older guys like that. And we just meet every Tuesday with was Coach Napier, now it's Coach Gonzalez, and we just go over where the team's at mentally, what we took from the game, things we need to work on, just stuff like that, just to get a general feel of the team.
The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to just ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. I've said it 1,000 times. Knicks down by a handful. I'm betting Jalen Brunson's fourth quarter points or his live points line, whichever one has more juice to it. I'm betting it because I know he's going to get the volume. Like, I know he's going to get the opportunities. He might not make the shots, but I could trust the process of saying, hey, the volume's there. Good move. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Okay, and how does leadership council, because you mentioned DJ being on there, Jacoby Jackson on there, and he's been inactive for a while now. How does leadership council kind of have to take a larger role now that you've got Tramell coming in? So it's not just, we have a true freshman back there. It's someone like DJ Lagway, who is in that leadership council, is not in the huddle anymore, commanding the huddle. So how does that change? Do you guys just have to kind of, everyone on that council has to kind of just take a little bit more responsibility to level out, or what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's just you got to rally around them. You got to up your play, up your sense of urgency. Just you gotta, and it's not just with Tramell. I mean, it's with everybody. We got to make sure that intensity stays. We got to make sure guys aren't checking out after this game. We still got 3 games left, and they need to know that. And we've been preaching the competitiveness throughout today's practice. And I think a lot of guys have stepped up, and it's pretty cool to see. But we just got to get this thing on the road, and going up against a tough team in a tough environment and some cold weather, we got to go put the ball down and go win.
Yeah, you mentioned going up against a tough team. Ole Miss, obviously, very talented team right now. But the bigger story for a lot of Gators fans here is that you guys try to block outside noise. This week you're playing against Ole Miss, coached by Lane Kiffin, who many people want to be the next head coach at Florida, who is the betting favorite, which, by the way, those betting numbers are garbage. Don't bet on that. Is the betting favorite to be the next head coach at the University of Florida. And I'm not going to do what we had with Billy G in the press conference of being like, oh, like, is that what you think Florida needs? That's not your call. That's not your decision. That's not a thing you need to give an opinion on. But is there some sense of guys going, this might be my next head coach? I need to especially show out or give something extra in this game.
I'm sure that's in some people's minds, but I mean, I feel like that should be your mindset every game. It shouldn't really matter. I mean, we don't know who the new coach is going to be. I mean, we got about 3 more games, and I'm sure we'll have a pretty good idea after that. But I mean, it kind of goes back to what I said previously. I mean, you got to play for yourself. You got to play for your family. You got to play for the logo. You got to put good stuff on tape because you don't know what's going to happen. Whether it's the draft, whether it's the portal, or if it's the head coach that comes in. Because no head coach has to keep you in this day and age. They can come in and be like, you know what, I think I got someone better. But I mean, if guys want to stay, you got to put good. Like, if you quit these next 4 games, the coach is going to see it. Like, I don't want this guy. He's going to quit. You know, he doesn't really love this place. So I mean, you got to finish out strong, put your best 4 games on tape. So when the coach comes in and evaluates you, he's like, okay, I can work with this guy. Let's keep him. You know. So I mean, there's all sorts of different motivations, but we all just got to find it and go play and win these next 3 games.
Yeah. I know that there's going to be someone mad about you talking about the transfer, which I don't know why people do that. The transfer portal is a thing. It's not, saying that you want people to enter or anything like that. It's just, we're not idiots. Realistically, someone's going to hit the portal, and it's not always someone hitting the portal because they want to leave. Like you mentioned, you got to prove to these coaches, whoever that may be, that you belong here and that you deserve a spot here. And so for some of these guys, it's going to be that coach doesn't really want them. But I know there's going to be someone that gets mad in the comments about you mentioning the transfer portal because they did last time. I don't get it, but that's just how people react. To wrap this one up, we've got a few weeks left here. Probably could have been doing this, but we're going to do it for the rest of the season here. What did you think of your performance? Where do you think you played well? What are areas that you go, all right, like I can improve on that, whether you want to call it a buildable area or whatever it is. I know that people have different names for it. But what do you think about your performance this season, but also this past weekend against Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of this season in general and Kentucky, I feel like the run game has been there. I think it's gotten better from last year. It's always been my strong suit, the run blocking, even pass pro. It's all been solid. And in the receiving world, I mean, I had that drop against Kentucky. That absolutely cannot happen. I gotta catch everything thrown to me. I gotta make the most of everything. I caught the OTB for a first down. That was my main focus this back half of the season was when I get the ball, I got to figure out a way to move the chains, get some run after catch. So I mean, besides the drop against Kentucky, I would say the receiving game was pretty well too. But I mean, I've had a couple drops this year, probably 3 or 4 that to keep me up at night. You never want to drop a ball, but I mean, it's life. You run enough routes. Obviously, I had the turnover against Texas, but I mean, it's all learning curves. I mean, I'm never going to fumble again. That's for sure. It's the worst feeling in the world, but I feel like I've definitely improved in every aspect of my game this season, and I'm excited to finish strong. And I think I've proved a lot of people wrong in the receiving part of things this year, proved that I can do it all. I'm in shape to play every snap. But, I mean, there's always things to improve on, and I'm looking to improve all these things, even this week.
Yeah, I will say it was, the Kentucky game, you lowered the shoulder a little bit, picked up the first down, and I was like, let's go. Like, I was just pumped to see it. Just because it's like, you're a big dude, just plow through. I will also say, because you mentioned the run game, and again, like I could be totally wrong about how the numbers work out on this, but it feels like from my angle, you guys, since the play calling change, have shifted the run game a little bit more towards split zone and GY counter, GH counter. I don't know what you guys call it specifically, but you guys have shifted a little bit more towards that, where you get moving and you get to build some momentum as a run blocker. How does that feel for you with this run game? I know that the numbers aren't there right now, but it feels like, again, from my side, like schematically, it feels like a more, I don't know, like a better run scheme right now than we've seen for the first 6 or 7 games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in it. I think a lot of guys do as well. I just know in the back of my mind that every play that if I don't get this block, I mean, Jaden's gonna have a hard time, and so we all take pride in it. And yeah, a little bit different schemes with Billy G. We just got to find our way and get moving. But yeah, I mean, it's something I take a lot of pride in. Whether they got me pulling for the Mike ID or blocking a defensive end or playing mind games with them and going to the state, whatever it is. I mean, I do it all to the best of my ability and take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah. Ryan O'Hara, by the way, I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to say that he listens to the show because I feel like I've been hammering more split zone, more counters. So I'm just saying, you're welcome for the game plan. Let's see a tight end screen. Can we get that, Ryan? I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Hate that.
Yeah, let's just see it happen. Some more boot slide as well. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Hayden. This is Hayden Hansen, Florida Gators starting tight end. Catch him every week on Locked On Gators and every week for your Florida Gators. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is now the #1 sports podcast network in the world. I am Brandon Olsen. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators with swampsignal.substack.com, and I will see you all a little bit later today. We got a bonus show with Brian Smith from The Portal and Locked On Seminoles, and I will see you all next time.